rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 7:59 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. On the way to look at the weather to give it to you people, I just realized that it's the 30th of August. And wow, this year has gone by really fast already. It's about to be September. Monday is Labor Day. How about that? Summer just went fast. But anyway, we got a great uplifting conversation for you guys today. I just wanted to remind you of that wow, time is it's fleeting. It's a little bit cooler when you go outside now. The morning is very pretty today, but still it's a little bit cooler, and summer is gone or about to be gone very soon. Well, we have a great show for you guys today. We have great guests. We have WBDC back with us again. We have Kristen Gehrig and Aisha Ahrens. Yes. All right. Said it good. So we're going to be learning about the digital boot camp that's going on. Registration is open now. But for the moment, on your screen there, you can see the weather. So we look to have a high of 75 degrees today with a nighttime high of 62. Tomorrow is going to be nice and sunny. And if you look at all those sun emojis going across the screen, it looks like it'll be a nice warm weekend as well. 79 on Thursday, 84 Friday, 91 degrees on Saturday, and Sunday will be 95. So get ready for that. A little bit cooler today and warm this weekend. That weather comes from the National Weather Service of Chicago, delivered to you here on Good Morning Aurora. All right. So we'll be talking about the digital divide and all kinds of other great things with the WBDC. How are you ladies feeling today?
Great.
All right.
Beautiful morning.
Bring your mic close. Yep, there you go. Bring it to you. You got to eat it almost, pretty much. But we're feeling good. So we'll be learning about the digital divide today.
Yes.
And then we'll also be talking about steps for businesses and marketing and things like that, and all the things that the Digital Boot Camp teach, which is a 5-week course.
5-day course.
5-day course.
Yes.
Okay.
All in 1 week.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
Wow. Like, Curtis, I can get all that knowledge in 1 week. Yes,
right.
You absolutely can. So for the listeners, introduce yourself and who you are and what you do with the WBDC.
Good morning, Aurora. My name is Aisha Ahrens. I am the Director of Digital Equity and Inclusion at the WBDC. That's the Women's Business Development Center. My role is to help small business owners find ways to digitize their business and really adopt a digital mindset to help them come up with better ways and easier ways, save them time and money, easier ways to do business. So that's my goal. Anyone can start a business without using digital tools. Is it going to be easy to compete with your competitors and to get more business without it? It's not going to be easy. So that's my goal, is to help you business owners really, find ways to optimize your processes.
Nice. And Kristen?
Yeah, thank you for having us again. Good morning, Aurora. My name is Kristen Gehrig, and I'm the Associate Director for the WBDC for the Entrepreneurial Services Group. So I work here in Aurora with Minerva Calatayud, who is also a frequent guest with Good Morning America.
Yeah, she was on
Good
yesterday.
Morning America. Good morning, Aurora.
No, it's all right. That's all right. No, that's cool. Yeah, you can. Yeah, we can do that. Swing for the fences, right?
Yes. So we do a lot of one-on-one counseling, advising appointments with entrepreneurs, and we do a lot of work on training programs like the one that we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, and you guys are located here in Aurora.
Yes.
All right. So what is the purpose of the 5-day digital boot camp? You gave a great description, but for those folks, and it's Aurora only.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, this boot camp is being sponsored by the generous folks at the Dunham Foundation. So we are looking for Aurora-based businesses. The purpose of the boot camp is really to take 5 days, and it's very intensive. It's very comprehensive too, but go step by step all of your digital, all of your processes, all your business processes, and look at it and examine what digital tool is out there that can help me optimize this process. And we go through it step by step. We do an introduction to the digital landscape. So what are the digital tools? What are their purposes? How do they help businesses? And then break it down. How do you decide which one's going to be best for your business? And it's, different steps. How do you compare them? What should you be comparing them based on your industry, on your business, on the way that you do business? I can't give you a magic list of, this is the best one for your finance. This is
Right.
because every business is different. Everybody has good strengths. Everyone has their, not weaknesses, but things that they're not very strong on.
Right.
It's how do you learn which tool is best for your business?
Yeah, it's about what works best for you. And there used to be a time I remember when people would think, well, if you start a business, you got to have a Facebook page.
Right.
It's like it helps,
Right.
but depending on what your business may be, maybe folks aren't drawn to the digital
Exactly.
experience. Having a digital presence is good,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you're not going to be getting consistent hits on it, and which ones to have, how do they work, and things like that.
Yeah.
We found that out with TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is hyper, right? They want the guy drinking juice on a skateboard,
Right.
not to hear somebody's nice voice over and over and over and over, like
Yeah.
traditional radio. It's not the same. So our TikTok sucks. But for other, but for other people, it's
We'll
great.
be doing dancing
Yeah.
later.
But when you meet people who come into the program, about how many are novices at this, and how many have a overall sense of knowing that this is important for their business? Do you meet a lot of people who just have no idea whatsoever about this kind of
I
stuff?
get the whole wide range.
Okay.
So far, I've done this program in Chicago, in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, and also in Kansas City. And everyone who's come into the class has been either, I don't have one digital tool
Right.
other than my website. And then I've got other ones who have processes, but maybe it's almost too much for them.
Okay.
And it's also it's also a great time for business owners to really start reflecting and going, do I need to hire somebody? Most small business owners are just that solopreneur.
Right.
So it can be overwhelming. The digital tools that are there to help, but they might be they might be scaling up. They might be, growing to the point where they've just realized I need to hire a person.
Right.
Or I need help here.
Right.
But to your point, they all come from different experiences in the class. So and the beauty of that is that you have people who are able to contribute.
Right.
You have people who, I've had so many participants in the class who've said, you know what, I've used that program. It did not work because of this, this, this. But that's not going to be the case for every single business owner.
Right.
But to have that kind of insight, that definitely helps. We try to make these classes, a good community where people can rely on each other and they meet a new resource who's kind of in the same boat as them.
Yeah, I used to work for a company that made apps for startup or medium-sized businesses, and one of the things I started doing, because I saw the benefit of it, was I go periodically and just check what new apps are out there.
Right.
I may not download it, but I'll check and see what's the new thing, because apps come along like
Oh my gosh.
all the time. There's a new app doing something, and it's worth it to see. If you're using a program, whatever it may be, because Minerva and I were talking about QuickBooks, amongst other programs. If you're using something and it's working efficiently for you, but it has maybe one or two things you don't like, it's worth it to see what has come about new in the same
Exactly.
industry or field, because you may not have to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but you could have potentially two good apps to strengthen what you're doing.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and QuickBooks is a great point there. QuickBooks is a very popular program. We've used it for years.
Right.
You know, decades.
Yeah.
But the thing is that most people take on QuickBooks or enroll in QuickBooks because either their accountant has told them that that's what they use, or this is what they just know. Now, QuickBooks can be pricey and could be out of budget for a lot of small business owners.
Yep.
There are so many other digital tools out there that can do exactly what you need QuickBooks to do.
Right.
Even if your accountant uses QuickBooks, they still need the same documents and the same numbers. And there's so many tools out there that, I want to teach business owners, how do you find those tools?
Right.
How do I find something that works with my budget? Maybe it doesn't have, it has the features and the benefits that I need.
Sure.
And not the frills that I don't.
Right,
like
exactly.
You mentioned.
Yeah. Friend of mine, she's interested in starting a podcast, and she was, we were talking about video editing apps, because she wants to, the idea of doing it was great. But when she shot her first video, she realized like, oh, okay, now I got to mine this 45 minutes of footage. Right? Like, I got to pick the good parts out of this. Buckle up. And I was telling her that, like, there's programs out there. Like, we use a subscription-based program, but there's a really good one that you can use. The free version is awesome.
Yeah.
I'll give you Clipchamp. If anybody can hear the sound of my voice, Clipchamp. The free version. You can do so much with just the free version. It's just magnificent. So I would let people know that too, because when people do ask about that for their businesses, I'm quick to let them know, like, check out the free versions of apps and see what you can do with those before you have to pay for
I am the same way.
Yep.
I love freemium versions.
Freemium.
Freemium. That
Oh,
is
I
what
like that.
Yes.
I like that. I'm going to start using
that. You get
that.
so much out of it. It's a great way to test out apps without that commitment there.
Right.
But, and that's the thing with the digital boot camp. When I introduce different digital tools, I'm very budget conscious.
Absolutely.
I grew up in a family of small business owners myself. I get it. These are the last things that you have budgeted for. You still have a mortgage to pay,
Right.
So I constantly think about that, and the tools that I do, I try to find the ones with the freemium version or the free version or a low cost version.
Yep.
Are they going to be the best? No, but it's a great way to introduce yourself to a tool and say, okay, well, now I need something that's a little bit more bulked up feature wise.
Yeah, the early days of Good Morning Aurora, we went from videos that were not great but started looking better, from a $25 a month subscription little program. Now that was 3 years ago. That program is just not good anymore.
Yeah.
We're doing, but for that, it was night and day.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, you guys really leveled up. Like, yeah, kind of. It was
But
good.
think if you're a business owner and you see that effect,
Yep.
now your customers are seeing that.
Absolutely.
The pride you would take in your business,
Absolutely.
good. My clients can now see my business the way I see my business.
Speaking of business, Jen Mendoza is here. Good morning, Jen Mendoza. Daniel Calderon, good morning. Juan Cayetano, everybody's a business in here. Look at this. William Miller III, he works for a great business, but he's a business too. You're a good William, good morning. We used to ride the train every day for 6 years, and we're still connected. That's the digital family, right? I want to read, though, the info about the WBDC Digital Bootcamp for listeners. So, we learned that during the pandemic, small business owners across the state were struggling to access federal and state COVID relief funding for various reasons. We became acutely aware that the digital divide worsened for small business owners, especially for those owned by women and people of color. This meant that those small business owners did not have appropriate digital devices, broadband, digital tools, or knowledge to submit proper application for funding their businesses desperately needed. Business owners couldn't even access their electronic bank statements or tax returns. We know of the barriers that many small business owners face when it comes to digitizing their businesses. Now, we'll get to the barriers in a second, but I just want to kind of circle back around with that statement. Submitting proper applications or funding the businesses desperately needed. That's kind of how we started talking about this before the microphone came on.
Right.
Because I knew already that, like my older folks in my family, right? They, they're still stuck on the fax machine.
Yeah.
They don't have a Gmail. They got the Yahoo that, my cousin set up for him before he went to college.
My father still has AOL.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Right. For real. SBC Global. Like, what? Super old. Comcast.net. But that was just until the pandemic came.
Yes.
Because I don't work for the WBDC, but the people who we needed to contact with and work with couldn't grasp the fact that the response to their application being approved for mortgage assistance or rental assistance was not going to come to their door no more. It's not going to be a letter. There's no office to go to talk to a person. It's going to be all on email, and a lot of people were not ready for that. Now, in the housing aspect, that's unfortunate.
Right.
But in this aspect, it's both unfortunate, and it could mean a loss of business for these people too.
Right. During the pandemic, the WBDC was involved with a lot of grant programming. So we were, we were tasked by the state, by the counties, by municipalities to kind of work with business owners on their grant applications. And what we found was that a lot of business owners didn't even have the means to digitize or really provide the documentation that they needed to. And when you have a short window frame for a lot of these applications and they can't get you their bank statement or they can't get their tax return, and nobody was in the offices. That's the thing. You couldn't come by and drop off.
Right.
And I think we did it for one person because he called and I think the founder happened to be in the office that day.
Right. Oh, Bill's here, y'all. Yeah, how you doing, sir? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no problem. Come on down. Yeah, we here.
That was like the one time, but yeah, for these business owners who, didn't have that means, that's, some of these grant programs, if you think of the PPP in the very beginning, they couldn't even apply for it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things. They didn't have the means to do a proper application, or they didn't know the information about it because, yes, you're right. Some people only use the internet to, they may only go on Facebook to see what their family is doing.
That's it.
But to find information that's,
your
essential
spam
for them
versus your junk folder,
right?
The little things on the side, hit the 3 dots, go down to settings. None of that.
Right.
None of that. They're not able to do any of that.
Exactly. And that's, that's something that really does need to be addressed. And that's something that a lot of organizations are working towards, helping, those, that population who does not have the knowledge to go there, or, just tell them where the resources are.
Right.
What else can you do?
Right.
It's, the internet is not just checking your Facebook account.
Right.
It's not just, hey, my AOL account, let me look at that. It's really, what do I do? How do I find these resources? Because you're right. A lot of resources are now digital,
Right.
even with the government.
Right.
So if you're looking for your Social Security, if you're looking for things that affect you that way, Medicare, a lot of things are going that route.
Yep.
And it's not a paper application anymore.
Well, I'm of the belief that it's gotten better. It's just people haven't been able to keep up. There's been no guiding of folks along the way. Like, that's the thing. Folks haven't been guided as we've transitioned to a more tech-based society and a tech-based everyday experience. People haven't been coached along the way. That's
And I think that's where those barriers we were mentioning, that's really where that comes into play.
Yeah.
Some of those barriers include not enough access to digital devices. So maybe they might be on outdated computers or laptops. Because that's expensive. I don't know if anyone's tried to. School just started. How many of you have your audience has purchased a laptop recently, right?
Right.
A good one.
All of my audience are parents. I don't think
Right.
anybody in the chat is not a parent. So
Exactly.
yeah, they know.
And how long, it doesn't take very long before you realize, yeah, your kids are growing really fast, but now they need a new laptop too. So that is a big barrier for people, just the economic barrier there, but also, access to digital literacy. So it's not just even having the laptop like we talked about. Okay, what can I do?
Right.
How do I do this? I don't know how to use Excel. Excel's not a day-to-day thing, but at the same time, it can help a lot of homes with budgeting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you have that digital literacy, where can people get it? You don't have to go enroll into a college to get this education.
Right.
There's so many programs out there that do offer digital literacy things, even if it's something as easy as setting up an email address. That's something that you don't think you think everybody has an email address.
They don't.
And then, yes,
Right.
you realize during the pandemic, some people did not have email addresses. There were a lot of grants that email address was going to their kid.
Yeah.
Like, why is a 10-year-old getting this?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But that was their parents did not have an email address, and this is how they had to do their loan application or
Yeah.
their grant application.
So one of and I don't know if this is transferable in what we're talking about with the digital divide, but there are, unfortunately, with people who don't have digital literacy and understanding of what's going on, there's a lot of scams that they can fall into as well. Is that something that happens in the business community with what we're talking about? And is that one of the is that something that you can let people know with the digital boot camp, like what not to fall into or what traps or pitfalls there may be for business owners? And what are they if they're out there?
So when it comes to scams, it's scams, and then it's also predatory lending. That's a big one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of predator lenders out there that can make a nice fancy website, and it makes it look legitimate. It can get the same fonts, the same coloring
Right.
that an actual bank would have, and it looks legitimate for them. So, but it's about the rates. We do cover cybersecurity in our digital boot camp, and that yes, it is not the sexiest topic out there, but it is an important topic, especially if you are adopting digital tools or you're doing everything. It's a good practice to look at your cybersecurity process and your overall security in business, regularly, whether it's quarterly and just do an update or check, just have that kind of a self-audit on your business security wise. But yes, with cybersecurity, it is easy to fall for scams. It doesn't take much for somebody to replicate what looks like a legitimate website.
Right.
And then you fall for it. And don't think that it's, just elderly people or, who
No,
are
it's
not
not.
falling
No.
for scams.
No.
It is me, it is you, it is me, it is
Yeah.
it's people you would not think who would fall for scams.
Yeah, next week we're me and a couple members of our team. We're gonna have a meeting touching on some of that stuff because I've had the access to our Facebook pages. I've delegated access a little bit here and there, but can't really do that because people be losing their phones.
Right.
And I just have no confidence other people can really effectively look and not fall for this, because some of these scams, because I'm a nerd, so I'm always reading on what the new scam is. I'm always looking at what the new apps are. I'm always looking at /43EF is the formula that they're using to whatever the heck it may be. I mean, these scams are elaborate.
Yes.
And family members, unfortunately, this is where a lot of people get stuck. Someone will make a page of a family member and then friend request you.
Yeah.
And then you accept it, even though you're already friends with your cousin, right? And you just accept it.
Right.
And then
we live
Lordy,
in
there
an age
you
of
go.
AI now, too.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
AI makes it so easy to make something look legitimate.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm going to teach them and let them know, look, we got to be careful with
That
this.
is important, too.
Yeah.
And, we do cover that. What do you do with device loss?
Right.
who has access to what, especially for small business owners out there who have teams, and a lot of us still work remote or are hybrid. So a lot of people, like I have my work stuff on my cell phone, but my cell phone doesn't leave my side.
Right.
Except for right now, it's across the room.
And then another of the barriers that was mentioned are, so we talked about affordability.
Right.
We talked about digital literacy, but access to reliable broadband.
Yes,
All
this
right.
is a big one. And this one,
Tracy Duran, good morning. Yeah,
good
my bad,
morning. This is a big one. And, there are programs out there. There's the ACP program, which helps lower income homes to get affordable broadband access, because internet is expensive too. I mean, if you've looked at your bills recently, it is expensive. There are drawbacks with the ACP. It's sometimes people use it, and depending how many people in your household are using the internet, it may be a little bit spotty.
Yeah, people
And
don't
that's
understand that.
Right.
Yeah, they think now that we got internet, we're good. Yeah, there's 10 people in your household. You're
Everyone's-
not good.
Yeah, it's not
Trying
just
to watch
the laptops.
YouTube videos, like,
Right.
no.
Everyone's got their cell phone, and
Yeah.
you're overloading it for the one household.
Right.
So, and then you have children at home trying to do their work. A lot of work for kids, or their homework is on a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
These days. This is definitely a new thing for me. But access to broadband, and it's not just rural areas. It is rural areas are affected, but in cities too. In cities and towns, people, there are a good number of your neighbors who probably have very poor access to broadband. That affects small business owners, because if they don't have that reliable access, digital tools or just even their programs, it kind of blocks that for them. It doesn't make that effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. My listeners will recall, you guys will remember, it wasn't ancient history that the Aurora Public Library, specifically the West Branch over there by Wabansie on I think that's Eola, right? Yeah. Put out multiple notices that said, like, look, if you got kids and you need to use the internet, park in our parking lot, here's the password.
Right.
And just let people do what they had to do. I mean,
They're such a great resource.
they
The
are,
library.
and it's but that highlights what we're talking about with
Yeah.
the lack of access. It's like if your most reliable place to get your homework done is your library across town.
Right. Something needs to be done.
Yeah,
Yeah, something
exactly.
needs to be done.
I wonder though. Let's just hold on. I wonder though. This is maybe right. Let's go there. Is that also though? Should the government provide free access and Wi-Fi?
I am on team. Yes, they should. But that is, if you travel around the world, there are places where they have free internet access.
There are.
Europe, there's so many places where you don't need
Right.
to purchase this.
Yeah.
But I think it should be.
Right.
I mean,
Okay. All right. I'm not necessarily against it either.
right.
I
If education is important, it has to be.
I've read
Yeah.
some great articles for and against. So I'm more of the for side though too. Interesting. I asked that because you're on the board, right, of the. in
I am
Chicago?
on the steering team for Chicago's Digital Equity Coalition.
Steering team
and this
for
is
Chicago.
run by
Okay.
Devin Braunstein. She's doing such a great job. It's basically, we are working to help bridge that digital divide in the city of Chicago.
Nice.
And I know that there are other programs popping up too. The infrastructure bill with the state of Illinois. So DCEO did release, they're going to be starting their work hopefully before the end of the year.
Okay.
But that's, I work on that coalition to help with digital literacy. So digital learning. How do we get, citizens to the website and to navigate it?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, how do they access the resources? Because there are resources out there. It's really about teaching people, how do I access it? How do I find it? So
Right.
it's, because the internet is a big place.
It is.
So, but if you're looking for something, hey, I'm 65 years old. I just want to find things that pertain to me, that's how easy it should be.
See, that's what I want to do for people too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that for people. Like I want to, you know, that's the job. That's what a civil servant should be doing. That's what a
Right.
public servant should be doing. You should be opening up your town hall or whatever, and you should be teaching these people, like, look, if you are over the age of 50,
Right.
we got coffee and donuts provided for you. Sit here and pay attention.
Right.
Don't click on this. Don't click on that. Here's the best practices for you guys to do. Make a folder inside of a folder, all kinds of stuff. Like, you know, restart your computer occasionally. Don't have multiple tabs open and then just close it. Like just
Right.
small things, man. Anyway, the time is 8:29. So as I mentioned, I'm going to give these great people some
Yes.
of that local news that I have to tell them about. Good morning to all of you great, fantastic listeners and watchers out there. Norma Peterson is here. Norma Peterson is the executive director of Document the Abuse. Learn about the EAA affidavit, the evidentiary abuse affidavit, and its role in helping law enforcement. Okay, where should we start at? You guys want to start with food, or you guys want to start with responsible stuff? What should we start with? Responsible stuff or food?
I'm always up for food.
I'm always up for food.
Food one, y'all. All right, so on your screen there, as you can see, our friends of Java Plus have great lunch specials. Check it out. They have the Cuban great sandwich. It's really good. I've had it. Comes with a bag of chips as well. Then they have hibiscus and strawberry iced teas. And cafe con leche. The weekend lunch specials go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When you go there and eat it, I know you'll like it. Let them know that you heard about it on Good Morning Aurora. And say hi to Dan and Javier Burgos, dear friends. Okay, next up is Fiestas Patrias. That's going to be taking place September 9th and 10th here in Aurora at River Edge Park. And Maria's not here today, so I'm not gonna butcher all of the great words on this flyer. Yeah, no. But you can see it's going to be a lot of fun. And Good Morning, or Neighbor Project and Good Morning Aurora and Buenos Dias Aurora and the Aurora Financial Empowerment Center will be there too. It's going to be celebrating our Hispanic heritage. So it's going to be a great event Saturday and Sunday, September 9th and 10th. So be there or be square. Okay, next up is the Compañeros en Salud Health Festival. So this is taking place Saturday, September 9th, so the same day as the first day of Fiestas Patrias, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. That's going to be at the Prisco Community Center, 150 West Illinois Avenue. And there's a whole lot of stuff going on that day. There'll be breakfast, prizes, raffles, not, oh my God, ruffles. Chips, right? It's a health festival with chips. There's not going to be ruffles there. This is a free event open to the public, and there's different workshops for physical activity that'll be taking place as well. So Neighbor Project will be there taking part in that. It's going to be a really good time. So we're looking forward to this event and many more happening here in our great city of lights. The time is 8:32 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Diane Patterson is here. Good morning to you, Diane Patterson. Okay. So the digital boot camp is a 5-day boot camp.
Yes.
We spend 90 minutes a day learning about aspects of operating your business and learning about digital tools that are available to streamline those processes. For every tool, we learn the introduction to the digital landscape, amongst others. So let's start there. The introduction to the digital landscape. Introduction.
Yes.
Brand new. Never seen it before.
Right.
For some people,
For some
right?
people, yes, that is true. Yeah.
Facebook, never heard of it. Like,
For
what?
others, they're using something and they hate what they're using.
Right.
So the introduction to the digital landscape is really, let's recap the process that you're doing right now. And then let's look at, okay, what digital tools are out there, not by name brand, but what digital tools exist to help, and what aspect of that process does it really help you out with? What does it, does it get rid of some of the redundancies? Is it a task that takes you 3 hours, but this digital tool can do in 20 minutes, you know?
Right. All right. Identifying needed digital tool features.
Yes. How do you know what you need? So what features are associated with these digital tools that work with your business? So what is it, what are the benefits? What are the features of the digital tools that are important to your process? What is just extras?
Okay. And then comparison of digital tools is next. And then after that is how do you know which tool is right for your business? So real quick, when the business comes there, when people sign up, we're not siloing them off by their type of business. This is just all inclusive. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you know which tool is right for your business?
And that's going to be dependent on your industry and then the way that you operate your business too.
And discernment of which tool will best benefit the business. So picking that tool.
Exactly.
Okay. Lastly is ongoing work to adopt digital tools, best practices to help implement.
And that's really important. It's great if you get a digital tool. It's not going to work if you're not, if you don't have the best practices or you haven't implemented it the right way. For a lot of people who, small business owners who might have employees or a team, your digital tool is only as useful as how the engagement of your team members using it.
Right.
For example, like a CRM, a customer relationship manager, it only works to update data if your team is updating the data. If they're putting in, hey, I got this sale, or this is the lead time, or this is it. It's pretty useless if you can't get your team to use it.
Right. Yeah. Java Plus is here. Good morning, Javier. Good morning from Java Plus. We were just talking about you guys. Jose Art, good morning. So how does the tools are different than social media? Like, so these tools that we've been having, there's a difference between that. They're not all like tools that are going to be having that front facing motion for your business, right? It may not be something that's making your website prettier. It's probably something, it could be something that's getting your time. Okay. It could be.
So we do talk about social media tools too. So not only do we, for a lot of business owners, I think we talked about this before, with TikTok, there's different platforms out there that might not be the right one for their business.
Right.
But it also might be, how do I find my customers? For a business owner, that's really where you want to go. Where are my customers going?
Right.
Where do I need to put myself? So if it is TikTok, maybe I do need to be doing a dance in front of my business.
Right.
If that's where my customers are, that's where I need to go. So it is an introduction of the different social media platforms that do exist, because a lot of people don't think that way. They might think, oh, I've got my Facebook, or I've got, I ventured into Instagram. And there might be other ones, like it's really identifying who is my customer and where are they going, because that's where I need to meet them there. So we do an introduction to that, but we do talk about social media tools too. So what tools makes your content really stand out? So I know exactly where my client is. Mm-hmm. How do I make sure that content is reaching them? So it's interesting. It is, grabbing their attention.
Right.
For a small business owner, that connection with that client, with that customer, that potential customer is key, because you want that engagement. And this is a great way. It's a great way for companies to also show their personality.
Right. How many business owners already have those tools at that you're meeting that don't? Because we talked about how many people know versus not knowing, but how many people are using those tools effectively and just need a little bit more help? Because I get the impression that with the digital boot camp, the person who may be best suited as a candidate is ready to scale up, not to bite off the name of another,
One of our other programs.
Right, but
Scale Up is a great program.
right. It's like you for the digital boot camp, they're already doing something,
right?
Like, because that's what boot camp implies. It's like you're ready for the next level. So I've seen people using their personal page for their business.
Yes.
Is that the kind of thing that's also going on too that you notice?
And that is the thing. Well, we
Okay.
do, one of the first things we teach is separate your business from your
Yes,
personal.
Please.
We
Right.
we don't need to be seeing you out at the club
Yeah.
and your business page.
Yeah.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Depending
People
on what
don't
your
realize.
business, depending on
Right.
what your business is. If you're in the club, I'm not going to mess with you.
I
Yeah.
know. Unless your business is the club.
Right,
Like-
exactly. Unless you're like a promoter or
Right.
something. Yeah.
But so that's the first thing. Your business has its own personality separate from you. So that's what you want to show your client, because that's how you are connecting with your client is through your business page. But yeah, it's that is the first thing we teach is separate that, because a lot of people too, the email address. When you're looking at someone's email address, if you're still using a personal email address, it doesn't. Everyone's so on edge about security and making sure that there's no scam or anything like that. It looks more legitimate if you're using a business email address as
Yeah.
opposed to,
Oh, what? Yeah.
yeah,
Mrs. Diamond
Right.
36.
at Gmail.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something that we do cover is because that is your digital presence.
Right.
That is, your business's personality. It shows that you are legitimate too, that you have, you have an ongoing business. You're not just some new one that, or a fake one.
And we focus on people who've had businesses for
Right.
about a year.
Okay.
So they've kind of got some basics under their belt. They're understanding their financials to a certain extent. They've maybe started to dabble in some tools.
Okay.
So it's not just starting from scratch with somebody who's just doing a startup.
Okay.
Right.
So not just novices. Okay.
Yeah, we want businesses who've been in operation at least a year, have had that one tax return, because we do, again, it's 5 days, it's an hour and a half. We did not make this any longer because we want you to digest the information.
Okay.
If it starts getting too long, you'll already start forgetting.
Right.
things.
Marissa Amoni, good morning to you. And Rosa Acela Garcia, good morning to you as well. The time is 8:40. So with all of that that we just discussed, are the barriers that you've seen that most people have? I mean, it's part education, what we're talking about, but are the barriers lifting for people in access, in your opinion?
To a degree,
Okay.
yes. There's a bigger focus on the digital divide, and now with funding coming through, they're able to do more to help bridge that by, really get education, getting out there. Even with digital devices, there are some great programs out there to help people get laptops, digital devices at affordable prices.
Right.
Compudot, PCs for people. Those are two really great programs that do that. Especially if, like we talked about earlier, it is expensive to get a laptop,
Yeah.
but if you go on their website and you can show, they take it at different income levels too. So, but there's ways to get devices out there. And with digital literacy, there is a bigger push for programming like the digital boot camp,
Right.
for small business owners, but also for everyday people too, using how do I use my email address?
Right.
How do I set up an email address? How do I find these resources? There's so many resources out there. So there's more funding to help promote that. It's really getting the word out there too. Marketing these programs is going to be really key to really reaching those things. Now for infrastructure, that's, infrastructure bills coming in, and then hopefully we're anticipating that there will be better broadband access. That is a long-term goal, though.
Sure.
That is, that takes a long. You can't just.
That's
Yeah.
legislation.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of steps to get there, but no, it's getting better. It's just that there's so many people who don't know that the programs exist, and it's really reaching them.
Right.
Really that's the goal, is to reach them.
Arlene Carpenter, good morning. We have a good question here. With so many social media platforms, how can a new business best navigate which ones they should focus on.
Again, who's your customer? Yeah, I know we all want to say everyone's our customer, but no, who is your customer? Who is your key customer? You want to find that person and find out where are they. And there are studies out there, and there are, do some research. Use some of those CRMs to find that research. HubSpot is a great place to find data. But where are your customers going? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on, are they on Facebook? What times are they on Facebook? What times are they on Instagram? So look at that. LinkedIn. Are you business to business? Maybe LinkedIn is going to be your business platform, your social media platform.
Right.
I post on LinkedIn all the time.
I do too. LinkedIn's been better to us than TikTok.
Yeah.
You
Probably
know,
because
again,
you're
it's
reaching.
right. It's what we're doing. It's a different thing. It's not. Yeah. And then my friends who have different businesses like face painting, like they need a TikTok and they don't have one. I'm like, why don't you make a TikTok? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you posting that on LinkedIn? That's not right. It's not. It's
you have to
you
identify
gotta know.
who your client is. Who is it that you really want to reach?
right.
And I was going to say, too, I wanted to make a plug for public libraries because a lot of libraries have business librarians, like the library here in downtown Aurora, and they're a great resource to help you research your industry and your ideal customers, and people can get a lot of help by reaching out to their librarians.
Okay. Yeah, libraries are a good resource, and the Aurora Public Library, too, has a lot of good free materials. You can get books and reference materials for free to help your business too. If you go to the second floor, and I can't remember his name,
Chris?
but he's the Indian brother.
Oh, no. I'm thinking of the business librarian that I know. It's Chris.
Okay, I don't know, but there's good people there.
There's great people.
Ask
Such a
anybody.
great
Yeah,
resource.
yeah.
Even during the pandemic, the WBDC set up scanners there, and we helped people scan some of their tax documents and things like that so that they could apply properly for grants and like the PPP loan.
Yeah, I remember telling people that. They're like, well, I don't have a computer at home. What should I do? Go to the library.
Right.
Like, really? Like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're applying for mortgage assistance.
Yes.
You might want to go do that. Like, there should be nothing stopping you from doing that. Anyway, so I did have a question here, and it was about, we started going down the rabbit hole of the library, but it was about resources. What the heck was that question I had for you? Because it was about resources and the things that you're doing. Maybe it'll come to me. Anyway, how can people get in touch with you?
Go to the WBDC website. That's wbdc.org. You can find me there. You can find the application for the digital boot camp. You do have to apply for it. We'll have a short conversation afterwards too. But you could go there. You can email me directly. It's aahrens@wbdc.org. But yeah.
All right.
Or visit Kristen here at the WBDC.
43 West Galena.
43 West Galena. All right. So our dear friends, Jen Ingram is here. Good morning. Cindy Morales is here. Cups Broad Drive event will be on Water Street Mall with the Roots Aurora Festival. That is right. And actually, that reminds me, I have one more piece of great breaking news. I need to tell you folks about the Roots Aurora Festival. And just like any good newsman, I have it right here. Friday, September 1st, cultural celebration for the whole family. And it's going to be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Dance, fun, and culture. This fantastic event is an annual event here in Aurora, and it's brought to us by so many great people. I'll just name a couple. Family Focus, West Aurora School District 129, Rush Copley, Aetna, Fox Valley Park District, First National Bank of Omaha, VNA Healthcare, First Ward Alderman Emmanuel Lamas, Alderwoman Ted Mesiacos, my bad. Alderman Ted Mesiacos, 4th Ward Alderman Bill Donnell, 6th Ward Alderman Mike Seville, 9th Ward Alderman Ed Bugg, and 2nd Ward Alderwoman Wani Garza. So get ready for that. And Cups Broad Drive will be there as well. Okay. So the time is 8:48. in your opinion, where should people? Let's give them a little plug. Let's help them out today. What should they absolutely stay away from? If you're a small business, what's an app that you should never use, or what's one that they should just leave it alone? Don't even go there.
I mean, again, there's so many apps out there. It depends on your industry, so I can't say stay away from. Be cautious. That is what I'm going to say, and check your business regularly. I don't know, there's the dark web. Check to make sure that you're, if you are there, you're able. I guess that would be my best advice. Check the dark web. Make sure that your information is safe. If you're on if you do find yourself on the dark web, like your email address or something, what's the information that's on there, and mitigate that risk. Right. Change a password. Notify. You can't take anything off the dark web, but you can at least make that information useless. But staying away from what app? Oh, I wouldn't even know. What app would what is your app that you don't like to use?
Well, I'll tell you. I'm gonna have the conversation with our executive director and a couple other people because we shouldn't close our account, but I don't think that with all the hubbub going on with Twitter, now X, I don't think it's conducive to what we're doing anymore. Our message of trying to save the world through home ownership is just not being received. It's just drowned out by all of the other miscellaneous. So I think we should just not use it anymore.
I'm not even on Twitter. So
it's just not. It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate because the reach is phenomenal, but not when it's something good. It's just terrible. It's depressing.
Yeah. We would not have been saying this 3 years ago.
Exactly. That's why organizations That's why organizations got on Twitter to network and liaison, and so many of our other great partners are on there. But the message is just falling flat, and I don't think it represents us or our values anymore.
It probably doesn't. No.
Yeah, so that's why I was bringing it up. But again, that's just a conversation that we're having internally. So I don't know if that could translate to something that's beneficial for others in the.
Yeah, I mean, my recommendation is always be looking at other apps though. Sure. Always, don't be complacent and don't just get comfortable with what you're using, because there are better ones coming up all the time. Sometimes you get stuck on one and you think that that's it, where you might find out that there's a better way to do something, or it might even change the way you do something.
Right. Some phenomenal new features that really to kind of take you to the next level that you can't get with your current app.
Right.
Another question. What is the percentage of women-owned businesses in Aurora? Do either of you ladies know that?
I don't think I know that.
We're not sure about that.
I think the mayor talked about it at his last State of the City address. Cindy Morales, help me out. Didn't he? I thought that was one of his metrics and statistics that he put up there, that there's a number of. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I could be completely wrong, but I'm gonna throw out the number that I just seem to recall, because I think I've talked about this before with other people, but I think it was 43%. I think I could be flat on my face wrong about that number, but for some reason 43% is sticking out with me. And I really believe that the mayor made that one of his highlights at his because that's, you would want to know that. Interesting. All right, time's 8:52. What did we forget? Did we forget anything? What did we forget? So registration's going on?
Let me tell you when it starts. Yeah,
scratch the world up.
I wrote it down because
no, we got it for you, y'all.
So the boot camp, the application runs up until the 12th, September 12th. Okay. Boot camp starts on September 18th, and that's Monday. And that runs through Friday, September 22nd. It runs from 9:30 in the morning to 11 in the morning. And then 11 to 11:30. It's like office hours if you have questions or demonstrations. So, but yeah,
And it's on Zoom.
it is.
Okay.
It is. Yes.
All right.
Thank you. It
Digital
is on
on
Zoom.
Zoom. Okay.
So I tried to make this as easy as possible for people to attend.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there's no. So it's like better than boot camp. There's no punishment for wrong answers, right?
Exactly. We're all
then
there for learn. Yeah, we're all there to learn.
And then there's advising appointments
Right.
that people can sign up for. So if through the course they start to realize maybe they need to have some help getting their business model shored up or something, they can do that at the same time while they're going through the boot camp.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, wait, hold on. One more question. Steven Statura, good morning to you, dear sir. Yeah, Cindy's going to get the numbers. See, I knew it. Right, Cindy? I remember that. Come on now. We remember that. All right, so she'll post the information on Women of Aurora. Where's the boot camp held? The boot camp is digital with our friends of the WBDC. You go to WBDC.org, and then you go to events, and then you go to the digital boot camp. But the link of it will be in the description of this episode after the show. Cindy, we will do that for you. Okay. That was I'm trying to think of that question. I had it. No, I had it before we started talking about the library. I had a question, and I was
messed
gonna
up your train of thought.
It did. I had a question I was going to ask
Yeah.
you. It was in the realm of resources, and I'm quite sure that when the show ends, I'll remember it. But but no, the work you're doing with the digital divide is it is important because it's a lot more concentrated in Chicago, which is
They just started their program first.
yeah. It's like this kind of stuff is very important to folks. So
Right. And it's across the state. This
Right.
is needed.
yep. All right, the show ends on a positive note. So what is your message today for the listeners and the people of Aurora?
So if you're a business owner out there, always innovate. Always think of the next way to change your business or the way you do something. That's, your process.
Yes.
Always be innovating.
Absolutely. Always keep them guessing. Do you offer other business services for women, such as how to get paid fairly?
So for our target, our clients are all business owners. For getting paid fairly, I mean, we
That's a
do
good
cover.
question.
Yes, and I guess this kind of is in our established.
Yeah, but like in our
business
scale up
startup.
and our scale higher programs,
Yes.
we do have an HR section. We
Okay.
have HR professionals that talk about that. We haven't gotten that question in particular in the ones that I've been in, but we are able to help point people to resources if that's an issue that they're experiencing.
Yeah, that's now that could be a whole nother show.
That,
Yeah.
that
That
is
could be a
actually
whole
a whole
nother
other
show. Thanks a lot, Marissa, for dropping a heck of a bomb at 8:56 p.m. or a.m. on the show. But no, that's a serious, because you know what? I just came back from this conference in Chicago, and we're a nonprofit organization. There were so many other nonprofit organizations there, and you know what was a theme was a lot of women who are in leadership roles in these organizations came from professions where they weren't getting paid for, amongst other things. Banking. That's what it
Yes.
was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, that's the question. That's the question I had for you. And then we'll end the show on this note. What has your experience being a banker allowed you to see and understand about what you're doing now currently? Talk about that real quick, if you could.
In banking, I worked, that was 17 years I worked with small business owners
Wow.
from all stages, whether they were startups, established, or looking to, sell their businesses.
Yep.
And growing up in a family of small business owners myself, I already identified with small business owners. That's who I was helping. When it came to the WBDC, I actually started with access to capital because that was just a natural fit. But I was able to help more businesses, I feel, on the nonprofit side with funding and finding those resources. Because when you go to a bank as a startup, if you're 6 months old, there aren't very many lending options. There are
Right.
no lending options for you. You can
Right.
get a business credit card maybe, but there's no lending options for you. And there are resources out there. Yes, it is hard to find. And during the pandemic, a lot of those resources did get pivoted to helping existing businesses stay open. Rightfully so. You don't want to see a business close their doors. But, a lot of those resources kind of steered away from startups to those existing businesses, but they're starting to come back. So you're starting to see more seed funding, more options out there. Kiva is a great program. We actually are the hub here in Chicago for the Kiva program. And that helps a small business owner get a 0% loan. It's a short-term 0% loan for
Right.
up to $15,000. For a startup, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's what it was. Marissa, thank you so much for that question. Thank you so much for that question. That's what I wanted to get out of you as well, because I did. I saw that. Like, there was a lot of women had the same story, and I was like, wow, that's just 20 years of dedicated work to a profession, and it takes to go to like a nonprofit organization whose whole mission is try to hopefully save the world or the neighborhood, starting where it's and that's what can provide the access for a person to have a better future. It's
Right.
sad when you think about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like if only it worked right the first time. You know, it's
But you have to look at mission statements.
True.
What's a bank's mission statement? It's
true.
And it's gotten a lot better over
Right.
the years. There's a lot more to go, but it's been heading in the right direction.
Right.
Over the long haul.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because those are the kind of things that it's sad when you hear that kind of stuff. But anyway, Marissa, thank you for that question. Thank you very much for that question. That was a really good question, and it brought back the question that I didn't want to forget, which was your history and the role that you had in banking. What's that allowed you to see and notice in this profession? And I think that's great.
Yeah.
All right, the time is 9 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a great episode. I hope that you guys are able to get some good information out of this as well. Do not forget that the Digital Bootcamp starts very soon, and we will have the joining links for you guys to check out in the description of this video. I want to say thank you very much to Aisha and Kristen for coming on the show today. You guys have a great rest of the day. Take care of yourself and each other.